Hi, it's Daryl again, and it's been ages since I've made a video, so I thought I'd tell you about what I've been doing and give you a bit of a review of another car. So I've been changing my job, and I'm going to be dealing with electric cars in my new job. Okay, and so at the moment I've got a lender car that is a Mercedes Benz B250e, so a Mercedes pure electric car. So I'm going to do a little car review video. I've been driving the car for a week, so I'm going to tell you what I found about the car and what's good about the car and maybe what's bad about the car. There's not too much that's bad about the car. Actually, I can't actually think of anything that's super bad about the car, so it'll be fun. Okay, so yeah, maybe I need to show you the car, so I'll do that. So here's the Mercedes. This one's registered. I think it was pretty new in New Zealand. It might be a UK import model. It has New Zealand maps, so it's quite good when you use the navigation. What have we got? It's a Mercedes-Benz B class car, and you can get these, I think, in petrol and diesel as well, and they'll look basically exactly the same. And I'll just go down the side. You know, just a reasonable sized car, so good for a family. If you've got 3 kids or 2 teenagers or 4 adults, or maybe you can fit 2 kids in a baby seat in the back, and overall it's pretty good family car. It's also an excellent commuter car. If you're just a kind of person, got 1 or 2 or 3 or some small number of people, and you just got a commute, got a long drive in your commute, say if you drive 50 k's each way to go to work each day, then it's a good car. You're about to just do that, plug the car in overnight, recharge it at home, and drive your 50k commute in each direction. Assuming that you can get a full charge overnight or charge at work, then it will be perfectly good. If you can charge at work and charge at home, you might be able to make it for something like about 70 kilometre commute in each direction as a possibility. But I think that you would need to have charging at work because of its charging limitations and battery capacity. This is the charging port. It's at the rear of the car. See the tail light there? And it is a Type 2 connector. And the thing about Type 2 connectors is there aren't very many Type 2 connector chargers in New Zealand. So you can charge, it says 100 to 240 volts there. Let's see if we can get contrast. There we go. It's a Type 2 connector. Type 2 connectors look like this. They have a bunch of pins, 2 pins for comms, and 3 phases and a neutral and an earth. And you can see that it can charge from 100 to 240 volts, so good for use in New Zealand. It has a charging indicator light in the top part. The 2 blank panels above the socket are for charging indicator lights, so you can see that it's charging when it's plugged in. I've got a bunch of stuff in the boot today, so I might not show you what's in there right now. I might clear everything out in a little bit and show you what's there later. The car has full leather trim, I think. There's some sort of soft kind of vinyl-y plastic stuff. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's soft. Maybe it is leather, maybe it's vinyl. I don't know, I can't tell. This bit's leather. The armrests and this padding are really good. I think there's a speaker in there. And there's a little plain type tray table. How does that work? There we go. Got a little tray table there for the back passengers, which is kind of interesting. Uh-oh, don't know how to fold it away. Ah, there we go. So new that it's never been used before. And a little basket to put stuff in. Got some floor mats, leather seats, got middle safety belts, all diagonal safety belts in there. Got my got my school bag and some CDs. There's a little place down there where you can put some stuff. I put CDs in there. It's got various compartments. Got I don't know, a whatever compartment there, and you've got another something compartment there. Two cup holders, which also work as a cell phone holder. Got the center compartment. Can open this up. It's got a cell phone charging socket and a media connection USB connector, so that's really good. So you can put your cell phone in there and charge the car while you go. And this thing moves forward, so you can have the armrest in a more comfortable position. Got this nice stitching in the leather fabric. I quite like that. Got a full leather steering wheel. Got an interesting instrument cluster. Here we have lots of heating ducts coming out there, and a center infotainment console. And have this, I don't know what this is, it doesn't have texture, it's got a pattern on it. And then the front doors, they have a light in them, which is cool for safety. Got your window control thing, and nice door handles. They seem quite nice. I think it's got heated mirrors, so if you're in a cold country, heated mirrors. And it has this special climate preconditioning thing. You can set up the car so that when you press the unlock button and the car's plugged in, or when you press the unlock button and even the car's not plugged in, it will automatically turn the climate control on. At the moment it's winter and we've had a few days down below 10 degrees C, and so it's been awesome. Like one morning it was totally frosty, and I set the charging timer, departure time, so it automatically turned on the climate control while the car was plugged in and charging. And when I jumped in the car it was nice and warm. Unlike a Nissan Leaf, which has default heated seats, this version doesn't have heated seats. I presume you can get one with heated seats and maybe other winter options. Mercedes, I'm sure, will provide some winter options and models made for some climates. That's my guess. There we go. I'll show you what's in the back now for completeness. So I've got the back bit. It's got this nice shiny chrome bit on here, and it has kind of like a little lump there. The seats fold down, and there's a little porthole hatch. I don't know how, maybe you have to open it from the inside. There's a little hatch. Anyway, there's a little hatch, so if you're carrying something long like skis, you might be able to put the skis through the middle of the back seat, which is quite cool. And there's a 60-40 split, and a couple of places to anchor car seats. And under the floor panel we have, it comes with a Type 2 to Type 2 charging cable, a little Mercedes basket thing. I don't really know what that's for. Maybe that's a foreign car charging connector, might have come in that. Got a tyre pump and sealing fluid, and folded up down the bottom is a little shopping basket that you can take out and take into the supermarket with you when you go shopping. I think that's kind of cool. And there's no spare tyre. And I think inside these panels, there's some side panels. I don't want to open them at the moment and self-destruct anything. Let's put that away. You can see better. Great, awesome. Got that roller cover that covers over what you have in the back. We've got stuffing. Oh yes, and here's an interesting thing. Down here, if we look down here, right down in this bottom corner, and zoom in, get some contrast. Oh, this is going to work. Please work. No, it's just not enough light to see it. Some of the components in this car are made by Tesla. On the other side, the other compartment, there's a medical kit. There we go. Medical kit. There we go. Okay, now I'm back inside. So here's the instrument cluster. It got too cold to be standing outside. I think it's 11 degrees and I'm only wearing a light jumper. So we've got a thermometer in there, which is interesting because it only shows it in some modes. If I flick through these modes, the temperature goes away, which I find sad because I quite like to, in my other car I can see the temperature the whole time. Let's get that in focus. Yeah, so in the default mode you can see the temperature. Well, this is the distance driven, so I've driven 2.6 kilometers. It's claiming 112 kilometers of range left. I find that the range estimate is really conservative in this car. I can usually drive it further than what the range estimate says, so that's quite interesting. It has a sport mode, so if I flick between different modes, can we do this without turning things on? Yes. So that's in sport mode 100 kilometer range, and in economy mode 123 kilometers range, and in normal mode 112 kilometers range. The sport mode is pretty amazing. It's pretty quick, this car, when you're in sport mode. In sport mode I think the motor output is 135 kilowatts. In normal mode it's kind of nearer 80 kilowatts, and in eco mode it might be, say, 60 kilowatts. I heard somebody tell me this before, but I'll have to check that. But when you compare to a Nissan Leaf, this is much quicker. When you compare to a BMW i3, BMW i3 is probably about the same quickness, so I think they're pretty much the same. Over here we've got this center system, and got navigation. Go through this. Let's go back. Let's just view the map. So you can see where I am at the moment. It has all the New Zealand maps, so that's pretty cool. You can program where you want to go and all of that. It connects iPod and iPhone. I haven't tested it with an Android phone. Down in the center stack we've got a CD player, stereo controls, telephone keypad, interestingly, buttons that take you directly to those things. Yeah, I've literally never used these buttons. I've never noticed they were there before, and I've been driving the car for a week. And what else? There's a memory card, which I presume has the map on it. I wouldn't take that out, so it'll make everything not work. And down here we've got the heat control settings. So it has dual zone heating. I've got it turned off at the moment because I just didn't want the noise in the video. I just normally put that on 22 degrees and keep myself warm because it's quite cool this time of year. It has, is there anything significantly interesting? Oh yeah, there's all these buttons here. So this is kind of like I think this is pre-entry climate controller. I've never quite understood. I found all the symbology in this car really, really weird. This one makes sense. This is Eco, Sport and Super Eco mode buttons, so you can toggle between the 3 different modes. That gives you 3 different ranges. The hazard lights, that makes sense. There's this battery light, which is I think this gives you the super full range. So I've just recharged the car for an ordinary daily use. I don't think it's actually recharged the battery to the maximum of what it can possibly charge to. So if you're planning on taking a longer trip, I think you can use this button to make the car use its full battery entirety. And this is park assist off. Oh yeah, this car has park assist. I think this is just common. Turn back around while I talk. Let's try this. Here we go. So, oh, this has got a really good. This holds an iPad really well on the front window screen. I'm really happy with that. Park assist. So I had to play with the park assist the other day, and I found it a little bit weird. I think the places that I chose to park had extremely low curbs, and so the car didn't do very well on. It put the car nicely between the 2 other parked cars, but it seemed to put the car way too close to the curb for my liking. And by too close to the curb, I mean parked it on the curb. But I was parking in places where the curbs are only like this tall, so it made no sense to avoid them, I guess. So I think the car just worked out that it would place itself between the other two parked cars. But anyway, I'm not going to give you a review on how that parking thing works, and it will probably, I assume it will probably work if you park on a normal kind of street, but the street I was parking on just happened to have these abnormally low curbs, so I can't say that it's representative of normal. Anyway, I'm going to get on with my driving. So today my plan was to drive 110 kilometers or so, which is approximately what the whole range of the car was saying. So I'm going to drive it, and then if I work out that after I've driven my first, I'm doing some errands and things, so after I've driven my 60 or 70 kilometers, I'll work out whether I need to plug the car in, and I'm visiting my brother, so if it turns out that I have the case of needing to plug the car back in, I'll plug it in at my brother's house. Yeah, I hope to come back to you. I'm going to say thanks for watching, and subscribe if you can. It really helps me if you subscribe to my channel. And on with the driving. So I've only driven 2.6 kilometers per day. So far I've only driven 2.6 kilometers today. But yeah, we'll see how this works out. There we go. So I spent 2 hours driving today, 52 kilometer per hour average, and used 23.8 kilowatts per 100 kilometers. The car seemed good for 125 kilometers, but I didn't have the battery set to the highest settings, so I don't really know what that means. But it's good for a commuter car, and if you've got a place where you can three-phase charge, you can charge the whole car in 3 hours instead of 6 hours, like you would if you were using a 16 amp charger at home. If you're only using an 8 amp charger at home, it's going to take about 12 hours to recharge. There we go. So I got home, it's 8.5 degrees, so I've had the heater on the whole time. Got 108.9, but it's hard to read because of the contrast there. And they've got 13 kilometers of range left. And almost all the time I just drove it in the economy mode, the normal mode. Went into sport mode for a little bit, and economy plus mode just when I was on the motorway on the way home. So yeah, a really solid commuter car, and good for just driving here and there. So overall a pretty good car. I think it would be quite good to own. I think that it specifically appeals to people that are only going to do city driving and not go for long journeys, because in New Zealand we don't have the charger infrastructure with three-phase AC chargers everywhere. There are three-phase AC chargers in some locations, especially Hamilton and further north. Just a note on the climate control. A note on the climate control I thought was funny is that, see the little red AC light down there? AC also means heater. So I thought that was weird, because it took me ages to work out how to turn the heater on, but actually what you have to do is turn the AC on, which is weird. It's like, look at the weather today. It's pretty wet and rubbish, and it's 10 degrees outside, so it's not that much fun. Here's another thing I never noticed before. In the back seat, there's cup holders in the center armrest, and that little slightly octagonal hatch in the back is the place where you can open it up to put long objects through the car. So I think that's for putting skis in the car. That's my guess. And here's just a shot from the back of the car. There's a heating outlet down here for the rear passengers, which is quite cool. There's this tray table thing. So there's a little tray table, which could be handy in some circumstance. I'm not really sure exactly what that's for, just like on a plane. And there was a button on the headrest I've never noticed before, which changes the tilt and angle of the headrest so that you can get the headrest to be comfortable for you. I needed that the other day. It seemed a little bit like the headrest was too close. And here's just a good view of the main layout. And on the passenger side it looks like this. You see it's just a rainy, miserable day today. And you've got the three vent outlets in the centre, which I find is actually quite good, and one on each side of the car as well. Here you can see the controls on the armrest, the mirror adjustment controls and the window controls too. The little buttons on the doors. So this is the lock. I think if you push that down, it will lock. Yeah, so that will lock. And then to unlock it, you just press the door, pull the door handle. It looks like there's a speaker in the door handle there as well. So I noticed that the stereo in this car, overall, this car's nice and quiet. It's nicer when you're driving at high speeds than in a Nissan Leaf. It's a little bit quieter. Again, of course it's Mercedes, so it's just a little bit more refined. A little bit more refined than the Nissan Leaf. So comparing to a Nissan Leaf, because that's an electric car with a comparable driving distance, and it's the car that I drive as my everyday driving car as well. So here's the view from the back seat. Oh yeah, there's some lights up there as well. And there's nice map lights up the front as well. My overall thoughts of this car: who should buy this car? You should buy this car if you just have a kind of a short commute, up to 100 kilometres, which is a long commute by New Zealand standards. 100 kilometres. New Zealand's normal driving distance is about 40 kilometres per day for each driver. So, you know, this car has got 3 times the average New Zealand commuting distance in its battery. This car's fun to drive if you put it in sport mode and you're driving on a little twisty, windy road. It seems to use power at a higher rate than a Nissan Leaf, so I think, you know, for some people that matters as well. You might want a more energy efficient car. It's bigger than a Nissan Leaf, and the engine, the motor power is more powerful as well. So it is totally different. It's a different class of vehicle, but it still drives about the same distance. The weakness is the no fast charging, so this is not good if you want to take long journeys between cities. It can charge in 3 hours on a 3-phase supply, which not many normal people have at their houses. 3-phase supply is more likely to be found at a business premises. There could be people who might have a farm or something which would have 3-phase. It's definitely more of a city car. Yeah, it's nice. There would be just a few people that I'd recommend this for, but overall, if you're just looking for an affordable everyday car, you know, buy a Nissan Leaf. There might be some other options. You know, buy a car with fast charge, an Ioniq, Hyundai Ioniq, or a Kia Soul electric, Kia Soul EV. Those are going to be better choices for some people. But if you just like the refinement and styling of a Mercedes, then definitely buy this. If you just have a short commute and you have another car that you drive when you go on long journeys out of the city or between towns, then this is a good choice. Yeah, so it's just a specific car for specific kinds of people. It's not in every person's car.